Hey guys, how's it going? This is Dave Sebastian, coordinator of Mentoring Arts Programming with Wayside. I am back with you once again, coming to you from the home studio in Old Shirley. Today we are going to be working on Yupo paper again. If you guys were with me, we did a project with Yupo maybe like 2 weeks ago. And unfortunately, it came out really terrible. This is how the piece came out here. And it is totally junk. I hate it. I was basing that on a painting by the Piz, a really talented artist from California. Apparently, I had painted from that painting before, which is funny. I had not remembered it. So yeah, we're going to paint on Yupo. Yupo is a really interesting product. It's a paper made from polypropylene, which is of course garbage bags. Great recycling idea. Really interesting surface. It's like drawing on a plastic bag, right? So it's like or Formica tabletop. When I was a kid, I got in a lot of trouble for painting on my parents' Formica tabletops. So don't do that. So Yupo was a really interesting alternative to that. The only problem is it's extremely slick, which is great, and it's non-absorbent, which is also interesting. But both of those things actually seem to be possibly a negative also, because because that last piece, I had finished it and it was sitting on the counter, and my son grabbed his pad and dragged it across it. Took like a lot of the paint off. So it seemed like it wasn't great for paint marker. We're going to see how it does with Inktense. I'm not really sure how it's going to look. I'm just going to go for it, because that's what we do in here, create artwork. Sorry about that. Yep, so this is what we're going to work with. Sorry about that. Then we're going to be using these Derwent Inktense paint pans. See if we can get in here a little bit so you can take a look at them. There we go. So these guys are Inktense watercolors. Inktense is its own product. It is a watercolor. Excuse me. It is a watercolor, but it is a little bit different than your traditional watercolors. If anybody's ever used a watercolor colored pencil, they know how cool it can be. I've used it a lot. I think watercolors are really interesting, but the problem I have with watercolors is that they're too muted. Everything is soft, and that is a tremendously convenient and awesome thing if that's what you want. If it isn't what you want, it's a serious pain in the butt, because it winds up being there's nothing you can do. And there's an interesting thing. Man, I'm hurting. It's an interesting thing, right? Which is that watercolor is actually the world's first experimental media. It's hard to think of it as experimental media since it's been around for so long, and so many hobbyists and professional artists have been using it, that I'm guessing they've squeezed all of the let's sound it out, guys. All about the experimental aspects of it. So it's not experimental anymore. But today's, I just don't like it. I think that it's too soft. I don't know why I keep yawning. My artwork is really about like high intensity colors and artwork that's sort of like screaming. You know what I mean? Where watercolor is whispering. So it doesn't really work for me. So Inktense, on the other hand, is ink, like indie ink. And that is freeze dried Sorry, guys. Been working with the kids all day today. It's exhausting work. Excuse me. So this is freeze-dried ink. So basically, they use a manufacturing process to extract water from the ink and create a dry ink product. It's new now. Inktense's been around quite a while, a few years, but it's a really cool new thing, and there aren't a lot of new things in art. There's a lot of falling asleep over here. There is a lot of improvements on things, like here's a better watercolor, here's a better acrylic, here's a better enamel, but when was the last time somebody said, hey, look at this new invention? Derwent has been around for a really long time. I think it's more than 100 years in Cumberland, England. They make great products, and they just happen to create this revolutionary brand new media. I super dig it. So I'm really excited to use it. It comes in these paint pans that we're looking at here. It comes in pencils. I actually have one right here. Your basic watercolor colored pencil. And I find these are really great to work with because I'm a very colorblind person. So they all say the color beside. Oh, yeah. All right. So that's what we're going to do. So today we're going to, and then the other thing is some of the tools that we're going to work with. We're going to use those Inktense palettes, but we're going to use water brushes. So these are brushes that are filled with water. This one is an actual Derwent one. This one is also a Derwent one. And these are Koi brushes. Which is a great company, but the reason I like them is because they're very small. We're also going to use a couple of different erasers. This eraser here I actually got the week before I started art school in 1989. And I've had it that long. It's still this big because I never make mistakes. Right. We're going to use also this eraser, which is a stick eraser. Really good for doing individual lines. Bam. And then the other thing is the sketch. And so the sketch, I'm going to be using another Derwent product, which is Derwent Sketching water-soluble graphite pencils. These guys are great. Now, a lot of people have made these, but I just find Derwent makes a pretty interesting version. This is a light and a medium wash. I like to draw them with those because as you add more water to bring in your colors, you actually bring up, you're able to wipe away most of the pencil lines, because we really don't want pencil lines. We kind of want just paint, ink in this case. So that's what we're going to kind of do. So the first thing we have to do is the sketch, obviously, and then we'll begin working in colors. I am working on a piece about the country mouse and the city mouse. I am doing this piece from an artist named Goyu Fuyikawa. Really awesome fairy tale artist. I ran across his book at a flea market, and I just love it. I buy a lot of kids' books because I really enjoy kids' book illustration. This one being kind of a pretty cool, successful one. So this piece we're going to work on, I think we're going to work on it in portrait mode. All right. Let's spread out our stuff so that we can get everything down here. The other thing that we have to do is use a little bit of water to get our two sponges a little bit wet. You use the sponges to, not really to clean your brush, but to add moisture so that you can mix colors. Another thing that's kind of cool about these Derwent palettes is that they're labeled, right? So here is a key to what color everything in here is. Being colorblind, this key is really, really, really important. So that's why I've kept them in there. This little area on the back here is for mixing colors. Yeah. So that's kind of the deal with that. We're going to take a look at this area and try to come up with a best way. I want the bottom here to be just a little. What I'm trying to do is divide the paper up into a little bit of a top and bottom. The character is like in a can, living in a can, so we can do a little bit something different. Hold on 1 second. All right, there we are. Cool. So we're going to put this part of it down here, and I think that we're going to try to bring his can in right in this area right here. I am wicked loose when I start a painting or a drawing or anything. I always start really, really loosely. I feel like the looser you get in your initial sketch, I feel like the more action you kind of get out of your artwork. Also, whenever you're making a cylindrical shape, try to think about both ends being open, which I've done here. Make this little one a little better. All right, so we just do that so that we can get the roundness of the back of it in there. We want the character to exist in this area, right? Little legs. So he's going to be here, and then we just want to try to. The artist on this book went in and drew his bed and stuff, and I love that. I want this to be up a little more. Right, so this is just the armature for our for where our character lives. Right, so as you start getting your idea pulled together, right, you want to be erasing as you go, right? I mean, and try to take a look at what you're doing to make sure the whole time, that it's still making sense to you. What I like to do is to try to zoom in on our perspective, like kind of a deliberate and intentional extreme perspective. And then sometimes I feel like these lines help it make more sense, give you something to hold on to, you know what I mean? Because all of this sketchiness can be a little distracting sometimes. Doesn't bother me that much because this is the way I work, but anytime anybody ever watches me draw, they always say, "Why are you scribbling?" And I'll say, "Well, this is just how I do it." I had this idea the other day. someone gave me all of these different French curves and stuff, and I was like, gee, you know, I wonder if I could figure out a way to use any of those. So I wanted to pull out a couple of the smaller ones here, see what we can come up with. Oh, look at this, somebody had tied a string to that one. So this one's a circle. Wondered if I can use it for a good circular end on our can. That might give us a good shape to work with. Right. Now that we got those lines in there, that helps make some sense, you know. Now we're going to swap over to this really small one and see if we can use it. I don't think that one's going to help us. Anything else in here really? A small circular shape. The cool thing about being an artist is anytime somebody has something they're not sure what to do with artistically, they say, hey Dave, you want this? I don't use a lot of these type of things. Not that I don't think French curves and stuff are cool. I just don't have a lot of use for them, I guess. Let's see if any of these will help us. That'll help us with this part. All right. Before we place any more detail on this guy, we just want him to be a placeholder here, so that we can establish some of the background information that seem to be important. Ruler. Want these lines to be pretty straight in the front. In the back, I mean on the sides, we need it to be curved because it's going over the sides of this can. So we're just doing one of these things, which might also be a good place for our circle template or our little template here. My other pencil will cut this. Kind of need to use that same one, right? So if we're using that one, got to use this one. Okay, so this gives us a nice clean window on the side that has some really good straight lines. Okay, now we got some vegetation and stuff that we're going to throw around this guy. I like this idea of the top of the can. This part of our setup lines. Alright, got some pretty good stuff going on here. So far the Yupo paper is cool to draw on, really slick and stuff. But we're going to see how it comes out once we start adding some water, which I'm definitely a little bit concerned about. You know, this would look like a really good place to, once again, use our friend the ruler. I feel like this is more ruler than I have used on a drawing. I use a lot of rulers when it comes to collages and things like that. Without the French curve, I would do my lines a little rounder. You know, like, give it a little bit more. Plus, if you can make it a little bit crooked, it makes it look older. All right. All right. Don't let your ruler move on you. Only screw everything up. Okay. So now we got like a little window box sticking out. Right. Okay. So now we do a little bit of just the edge of the inside of the box. And we're going to stick a bunch of flowers in there. This part here is not about drawing flowers yet. I think this will maybe be my most nature-y piece of all time. We'll see. So one of the things you really want to do while doing a sketch is keep your pencils pretty sharp. You know, you want my lines are a little dark here, but you really want to try to have your lines be as light as you possibly can, you know, because the lighter they are, the more it'll start to make some sense to you, and you'll start to be able to pull some ideas out. You know, like I said, I draw very sketchy, but after I've drawn for a bit and I've gotten into the general area of where I want to work, then I start taking everything away. It's good not to brush your hand across your artwork all the time. I often use this brush, which is a red line brush, which is a really nice brush, and I don't so much paint with it because I always worry that the paint will stick. So this is a really good get your pencil shavings off, your erasures off of your surface. That really helps. All right, got our window box here. So we got we got this stump here. So we want to kind of think about how much sort of earth that we're gonna use, and then we got to have. If the guy lived in this can, he'd have a walkway, a stone walkway maybe. All right. Gotta get a little bit of that part of the can that sort of doubles. Down here, of course, the character is going to be blocking the can, but the rest of the way, it's gotta work. So, what did we use to do that? I think it was this, right? Okay. That gives us our edge. We'll take the other one out. All right. I know you guys can't see this great. Try to move up a little bit. So what I'm doing is putting in the sort of the edge of the can. All right. The part that the can opener rides on. Right. So see, as we go, we're taking away more and more of the scribbling, and replacing it with some of our harder images. Cool. So now you want to kind of think about, I'm looking at the artist's work here, and he's got a lot of the idea of this character living in this space, which I really, really dig. I think is really cool. He did a beautiful job with this kid's book. What is it called? Fairy Tales and Fables. From, I would say, the 50s. Not totally sure. Right, now we've erased all my scribbling there. I apologize. I very often lose myself in the work. So this one we're using our little ruler again, because even though it's a stump, the mouse has a little tablecloth on it. This is his little outside table. That didn't work out. Gotta push it back a little more. Okay, get that one. Okay. Right. Guess I can keep working with the ruler. Take our stump a little, maybe a little moved over. Getting a little bit sloppy here. Go. That looks better. Oh, that one didn't work. I always think of the computer because you could just hit undo. That's you get kind of addicted to that, I think. You know what I mean? Like, winds up being something you expect, even though it's digital only. Do a straight line down here, like this. Okay. So now we kind of do same thing over here. This one I don't feel like we really need the ruler as much. The other side was, really definitive. This side's pretty much a lot mellower. Okay. Okay. Like that bowl, but I need it to be bigger. It has to really take up a lot of the top of this thing. Okay. Got our bowl here. Second interior line to give you the top of it. All right. Just put some stuff in here. Not totally sure what to do in there yet. Some big berries. Let's see what we can make with that. All right. Okay, he's got this cool stump. He's got a couple of thimbles, which are always cool. Okay. Looks like we did good on the bottom and not great on the top. Oh. Okay, so we got a little thimble out here. And we'll do the sides first. That would have been a great example for undo. Just a little bit off. Alright. A couple of thimbles here. I don't know what this grap is. Alright. Cool. All right. We got that guy in there. Gonna need a couple of sticks to hold this top of the can. This is going to be the top of the can bent back. Again, this is not my drawing. This is a kid's book illustrator that I really like. Maybe we should move that one over a little so it's not quite so close to this thimble. All right. Try to get our bottom over here. So although it's pretty straight, we want to go in and soften our straight line out a little because we don't want it to look inorganic. Like a perfectly straight thing, like a ruler, is a created thing. It wouldn't be something a mouse has found in the woods. Nope. It would be something totally different. Right, so then all the way over here, get another one. You guys see this okay? Try to center it a little more. Alright, there we go. Every time you move some of your stuff, you gotta move more stuff. Shorten this up a little. So really looking to go pretty much the same height over. Up you want way. Right. Don't need that line. I wanted to find a good spot to put the other support. All right. Same thing. We make this guy. Some branches coming off. Okay, so now we got those lines in there, we got our can lines in there, we got a lot of his little house happening. Kind of want to throw a line right through the middle of the can, just to help establish where the middle of the can is. Definitely, oops. Sorry, guys. This is really just for me as a journalistic reference. Some nice little curtains in this place. So we need, of course, the same thing in the back of the can. Make it up a little. Okay. Okay. All right. So now we want to use this this line here to give us a reference for the little mouse's bed. Okay. All right. Like to use this ruler upside down, because the bottom has cork on it to help with slip. The other thing the cork does is create a space between the ruler and the paper under it. That is a pain. So I have to take that off to make it work. Okay. Same thing here. Try to pull it in up here. Give us a, oh, looks like I didn't get anything drawn in there. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. Okay. Got his little bed happening. Should be able to kind of see it through these rungs here. top to be like a brass bed. At the bottom, not so much. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Now we got a little picture in there. In his little house. All right. We leave that. Next thing we want to get in here, and so we want it to just touch there. It's like his stove, which again we could use a straight line on. I feel like it's probably the same as this back one. Little potbelly stove action. Okay. Again, the ruler. Not going to keep it like that, but it's a good establishment for the pipe. Okay. This is the stove pipe. Here. Okay. Okay. Now we got his a little bit of his little house going in there. Over here, I want to put a little table. There's a leg. Okay. Feel like a lot of ruler work on this so far. But it's coming along, you know. Yeah, coming along. Okay, there's his table. I'm going to cover a lot of this table, but it's cool to have it there. Okay. A little more decoration-y kind of stuff. Wish I had a little tiny template that would give me that circle. Nope. Not 100%, but something. Definitely have to get some circle templates. I think that would be cool.